Hi guys, welcome to Pax Europiana, this time from Vienna, from the St. Stephen's Cathedral. I hope you can hear me well. I will walk you and talk you now through this wonderful city where I have the honor to live these days and where I studied actually, and I love it quite a lot. This is Vienna Cathedral, and this is me now talking you a bit through this beautiful city, showing you the center of the town, this beautiful place in the center of Europe. And I will also talk a bit, as you know already, about some things in the political framework which are not okay here in Austria, mainly the NATO membership which is missing. And I will focus on this one, obviously, as you know, but I will give you also some of these nice overviews, how the city is developing. In the middle of August now, it's a wonderful touristic magnet, and despite Corona, things are really tremendously improving. We actually have very good inner city pedestrian areas. I just want to give this little overview here. That's the main street here, Kärntnerstraße, going out to the west, and it's pedestrianized. That's important, you know. I promote this concept of pedestrianization in all European capitals, and that's why I like it. We have done here Kärntnerstraße already in the 80s. Now it's Maria-Hilfer-Straße, continuation basically of that one, a bit outside. It's also pedestrianized. This is the right way for cities to develop, yeah. This is very good. You know, this is high street shopping. The world wants to come to Vienna. Everybody is here. I see actually from all the world. It's of course this Corona is a bit of a limitation, but it's still working now. 2021 will be a much better tourist year than the shocking year of 2020, and we will recover, and the West will be very strong and successful. You have no doubt on my beliefs here. This is basically here maybe a goodbye to Stephansdom, and it's really magnificent. This one actually is interesting. I think this building is the one I wanted to talk to you. It's you know, this was an American investment. In 1917, when Austria and America were at war, when America entered the World War I, it was expropriated. And it was maybe a symbol, this building, of this kind of megalomania of Austria declaring war on America. What exactly? I mean, you wonder. You know, maybe a very good symbol to call for NATO membership and to get finally over our past crimes of being so much responsible for the First World War, and obviously also then in the Second World War, the whole disasters, but that's more documented. You know, the First World War is still the thing where Austrian megalomania has started or has led to this whole disaster, because despite our not being prepared, we fell into this kind of Serbian trap after the assassination, and we, by doing so, we started the whole mess of the whole 20th century. Very much Austrian responsibility. So let this building and this building be a witness of the need for European security backed by the Americans. And you know, a better building I cannot find, I think, for this one. Maybe just to return and also to outline, this building here, the Stephansdom, is very much only safe and secure because there was a working European security order. And this is obviously now NATO. And there is the question why Austria is not part of it. I will try to answer in this and in my next video. I will probably do 2 videos. Now I'm walking to Heldenplatz, but I want to show you some of these beauties of the city because it's really very nice, and honestly it's amazing. I like it very much. Here, these are the places, the watering holes of the tourists and of the rich and beautiful during the year. This is one of the most expensive streets now in terms of real estate and restaurants in Europe. We are trying to compete with Paris on prices, and anyhow the things have changed here. That's actually the sign of saying thanks to the Lord for the delivery of past pandemics. So hopefully the Lord will deliver us also from this one. But I'm optimistic. We are over the worst and vaccination is going good. Yeah, this is basically what we call Graben. That's basically where there was the ancient fortifications. Yeah, this was a walled city to protect the city from the Turks, basically. and then this areas was the what's it called? The moat? The moat, I think, is the English word, yeah. And now it's filled beautifully with beautiful people, rich tourists. The whole world is here already, and here I'm walking you through this area. It's actually very easy to walk through Vienna. You have a very good metro system. It's in English as well. It's a very easy to use city, and the Habsburgian family has built it for their own personal use. So you will see the main castle. I have showed you already the spring castle, the winter castle Schönbrunn, and now I will show you the administrative center and some of these beautiful churches and some of these other monuments. Here the Fiaker. I think it's a really great place to live in the center of Europe, and so do many more people, because now first time Vienna has reached the level of inhabitants it had already 100 years ago. Obviously 1913 the people lived very crowded, very difficult. It was a kind of New York style melting pot, and it is again. But now people live, of course, much better. But we have reached the 2 million now in, I think it's next year or in the 2020s, you know. The exact number might be questionable, but we had already 2.2 million during the war, because a lot of refugees were flooding back as well. But 1913 number was 2 million, so this decisive threshold we are close to reach again, because the city is booming. You see here also construction works. One last view back, that's one of the main banks of Austria. Erste and Raiffeisenbank are the two major commercial banks in Austria, and also the most important financial sector. This is the most important street here now. I will share the view and walk you through this place now. It's the most expensive shopping street in Vienna, and it's whatever the golden quarter, some call it. The terms might vary, but it's really has changed a lot. When I came to Vienna 30 years ago as a student from Linz, it was a relatively poor. Linz is one of the cities in the third city of Austria. It's an industrial town. It was a good place to grow up to some extent. And then I went to study here, and Vienna was also very poor. It was the frontier city of the Cold War. There was not this level of, you know, when I show you this one, Tiffany, Dolce & Gabbana, Dior. This is all changed. Yeah? In my time, when I was a student here, Vienna was a rather rundown city, rather poor, the prices depressed. It was a frontier city. There was, of course, the old inherited stuff was there as well, but it was breaking down. Yeah? There was no real economic case for such expensive buildings, and we lived like in Asterix, these people, in the ruins of the past. Now everything is changing, obviously, because a lot of money is floating in back, especially from Eastern Europe, Russian money, but all of the rich people and the poor people from Southeastern Europe. The poor people come to work, and the rich people to invest and hide their money from the tax authorities back home. And that's basically what made Vienna so successful. Additionally, a lot of international companies have chosen their headquarters here, and so there's good and bad things in that one. But in principle, the development was extremely dynamic. Unfortunately, the Viennese elite has not really internationalized, you know. Money-wise, yes. Morally, no. That's the problem. And that I will try to change in the coming years with my campaign for Austria to be a full member of NATO and of the Western world, of the free world. Also clean up the economics and the politics and come to terms with modernity. That's my plan in a nutshell. Might be ambitious, but at least I will try. Good, this is now the most beautiful square in Vienna. Here is the second bank I talked about, the Raiffeisenbank. This is Erste and Raiffeisenbank, basically dominating the financial and the economy of Austria. And here, this is the main administrative center of the Habsburg Empire for the 500 years. It was basically the administration center. 500 maybe not. You always have the question when you start. But the end is very clear. In 1918 they were morally and financially, militarily bankrupt because of the war, which was ultimately started in their name as a revenge for the assassination, which was a plot to exactly achieve what was achieved, the breakup of the empire and the creation of Yugoslavia under Serbian rule. This is now this amazing building, that's the Fiakas. Here are the main administration buildings, and here's the center of the town. It's not as full as the tourist season normally makes it. It's still, you know, it's lunchtime, and it's also a very beautiful church here. And it will be, you know, it is one of the main important touristic magnets of Central Europe. These are the Roman ruins. It was created as a frontier town to the wild east by the Romans. That's the history in a nutshell here. Yes, what else? This is now the start of it. And I think I will now walk you a little bit through. This is our administrative buildings, churches. It's very interesting also. I don't know if I can show you the inside of museums, but all the Habsburgian emperors are buried here. You can see the sarcophags, Maria Theresia in the, that's all, and it's really amazing. And also the treasure chamber. I personally prefer to show all visitors I have the treasure dome, treasure chamber, the imperial treasury. The Soviets didn't steal it when they occupied it. It was preserved, and nobody else ever has conquered Vienna. The Turks tried several times, but it was never theirs to take. And here is the Sissi Museum, very good. Here is the so-called the riding school, this famous horse riding facility of the Habsburgs. Spanish, obviously. I'm overrun by a fiaca, that's cool. Hello, grüß Gott. They have priority here, and this is one of the traditions here. It's really very beautiful here. I like it. I got a sunny day, a break in work, which I will use to show you this city. This is also the beautiful center here. All these buildings were, that's why to this day the high officials in the Austrian ministry are called Hofrat, because they were the counselors of the court. This is the way here basically was the administration of Austrian Empire for all its existence was based in these buildings. Today still the administration of the buildings is there, and some of them are used also contemporarily now for the parliament, because the parliament is under renovation. And so here you see the imperial treasure chamber, Schatzkammer. It's something you have to visit. It's beautiful things we stole. The Habsburg stole from the basically from the Byzantine Empire or during the conquest in Latin America, and they have preserved some unique pieces, which I think are rare in the world. So that's something special. I will let you visit alone, but I recommend it very strongly to see. Yes, now we come to other beautiful places. I think the most important beautiful place here, I don't know why they built that one in the middle, but that's now I will explain you all the facilities here around. This is the city council, the Rathaus. This is obviously the president's palace and the prime minister's office. And here you have the two big museums, natural and cultural history. And here you have the so-called Hofburg itself, where all the festivities are taking place. The OSZE has its meeting place, and it's full of history. It's the most important center of Imperial Vienna. This is where the Franz Josef has resided. In which of the buildings, I don't know so well. I know there is Erzherzog Karl, who won against Napoleon, at least a bit, and here Prince Eugen, who was winning against the Turks. He really won significantly. So that's basically the city. Here is basically here the This is on the right is the presidential palace, and over there is the prime minister's office. This is how the city is working. There are some other ministries and public places, and here obviously Skanderbe's helmet for the Albanian king. He has the Habsburgs bought it, the claim, and now actually it's over there, and I think it should be returned in this Austrian Albanian museum. I will talk about it in a separate video. This is basically just for my own orientation. Who is Erzherzog Karl and who is Prince Eugen? Not that I get blamed, but I think here we are with Karl. He won at least once against Napoleon. And the whole place here is absolutely very much connected with the Napoleon's wars, because the French have destroyed the fortifications around it as a kind of humiliation of the Austrians, and then it was no longer useful to rebuild it, and so they have built this big square here. So it goes back to that time. You can basically see the Austrian history in a nutshell very easily. Most important, of course, the defense of Vienna, and Prince Eugen then later driving back the Turks towards the southern Balkans. Sorry, we couldn't take the rest. Liberate the southern Balkans was not in the power projection potential. He was writing many letters back to the emperor to send more money, so he could drive back the Turks towards the Asia. But they decided to be happy with what they have achieved and to build more museums. And from that moment, basically from 1700, that was the prime time of the Austrian Empire, obviously until the Napoleon Wars. This was the prime time of Austrian Habsburg power in Central Europe. And yes, until it was then gradually defeated by German power in the various confrontations. Yeah, that's the OSCE. I was talking about it already. That's the Organization for Security and Cooperation. I call for it to be removed to Istanbul, because we are no longer a frontier town. We are now a EU member since '95. We unfortunately don't behave like one. That's one other issue, but that we have to solve as well. And to be a responsible European Union member, also to join NATO. That's the task of the coming years. And that's basically why I came here as well, to launch this campaign in a separate video, that Austria should join NATO and be a full member of the free world, which it was at that time, which it tried to be at that time, which we had also very tragic times, which we were not, when this bad guy was making the speech over there in '38 and annexing Austria, because there was no working security order in the world, and Germany, under the big bad guy, challenged it, and then the whole disaster started. And after the Second World War, America built a working peace order in Europe and in the world, as an anchor power America, as an alliance, of course, NATO. And since then we don't have to build any kind of warrior monuments here anymore, because Austria is safe. We were allowed to join EU in '95, but we never really managed to go full in, because of whatever kind of anti-Americanism or other bullshit, and that has to change. We have to join fully, and for that I came here, and I will make also some appeals on that one. That was my first city tour. I will do more smaller tours now, walk and talk you through various aspects of this amazing city, to show you this and to promote everybody to come here. Yes, it's wonderful to be open as well and to be welcoming to the world, and also it's something very beautiful to do, to visit these beautiful inherited places. We as Austrians from our generation, we should do the uttermost to be worth of that great inheritance, keep it well, make it open, and make it a successful country in the middle of Europe, inside the EU, a little bit more pro-European please, and also inside NATO, and to be a responsible, normal member of our community of the free world. That would be good. I think a better message I cannot give these days. So thanks a lot for the first one. More to come from Pax Europiana. Thanks a lot for listening.